quite a number of changes made in as far as how elections will be conducted and matters surrounding elections. And I will take you through some of those issues shortly. But before we went on break, we heard from the Senior East Member of Parliament, Jeanette Mohammed. And I want to give Dunstan Mary a chance to respond to some of the things we had the legislators say before we move on.
Very well. The legislature has raised two fundamental issues. One, that party loyalty should be party loyalty, that you only get a ticket of a party that you strongly believe in. For example, if you look at the 2013-2016 contributions of elected members to their parties, the elected members who are elected in ODM, people like Dalmas Otieno, you'll never know whether they exist or they don't exist. In ODM, you'll see people have been loyal for the last 4 years fighting for the party. People like Aisha Juma from the other side of Kilifi. You look at Junet, you look at Mbadi, you look at people, Nakaluma, people have stood firm fighting for ODM. Those are the people who are likely to get their tickets because they believe in the ideals of ODM. When you look at Jubilee, you look at people like Kakuya, you look at people like Kimani Ngujiri, you look like people like Ishungwa. Those are people who have stood with Jubilee to death. Why will a stranger who contested in 2013, he went to do his PhD abroad, come back in 2017, get a party that people have fought to do that? When you look at Wiper, you look at people like Mudama Johnston. So in my own view, I really support that somebody must enter a party, rise through the ranks of the party, let the party nominate somebody for that ticket. Two, another issue that Mheshimiwa Junet raised is a question of the IBC. I want to ask one very critical question. What is the percentage of the voters who turn out during the nomination time? It is not more than 25% of the registered voters who come out for the nomination process. So there is a likelihood that those who turn out to nominate are not the true representatives of what the will of the people of that constituency or that county looks at. Okay. So in my own view, I find it not appropriate to allow the IBC to be involved in the party nominations because it will not be a reflection of the true unless it is mandatory for people to
How is
vote.
it not a reflection? Because they're just availing for what would be seen as a mechanism that's more transparent, that has an arbiter that is neutral, as opposed to having party officials involved in the same who could have their own biases. But I'll let you respond to that shortly, even as we talk about the real issue of dispute resolution, because that is where all of this stems from, that people do not trust the process, and when they have issues, they do not know where to direct their grievances, or even if there are mechanisms, you don't see them utilized much. But let's hear from Alex Hamasi, who's calling us from Kakamega County. He's an MCA there. Hamasi, thank you so much for watching the show tonight and calling in. Talk to us about your views tonight.
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to register my displeasure on the law that was passed today.
Okay. Because
finally, we are going to have a political situation in the country whereby the freedom of parties in Kenya is actually being undermined.
How is that being undermined? Because you still have time to be able to move from a party if you do not like it, but it's just that the time constraints are longer.
It's being undermined because in Kakamega County Assembly we have 60 MCAs. Out of the 60, almost 10 MCAs party hopped so that they can go to other parties, whereby the parties that actually what they believed in did not give them fair chance to be elected on their same parties. But now people, the MCS went ahead and looked for other parties whereby they were elected by the people. What I'm passing around is that we are not supposed to force candidates to the electorate using our parties so that we get an Alex Hamasi because he's loyal to the party leader or the party office. What we are saying is that the politicians who are actually going for these seats should be given chance to contest on those parties, and if they are not given the fair judgment during party nominations, they are supposed to be allowed to contest on any other party because.
But Hamasi, let me interject quickly because our time is running out. You're saying that they should be allowed to jump so that they have that freedom and can still have their way. But allowing party hopping doesn't solve the issues that arise, those that you talk about. It doesn't sort them out. So shouldn't we be talking about what concerns you have, like those of being cheated out of a ticket when you're the popular candidate, as opposed to saying let's hop, because then that's just part of a bigger problem. You're not really solving the issues.
The problem is our parties, my sister. The problem is our parties. Most of our parties don't actually go for the best candidate. They go for their choice.
Why not run as an independent then?
The problem is that when you go for independent MCs or member of parliament are very few. Right now we are talking about the percentage. Independent are very few, but you look at those who party hopped. There are very many in the assemblies. There are very many in the county assemblies, and there are very many in the national assembly.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for watching and sharing your views tonight. Alex Hamasi is an MCA from Kakamega County. So let me pursue that line of thought, because one from outside looks at this. It's really that there are issues, and legitimate ones, that some people feel that they've been cheated or this and this illegality has happened. Then why not deal with the real issues as opposed to window dress and say, let's allow this to happen because there's this other problem? Because then it's all a mixture of things going wrong and really not dealing with the root cause.
Let's call a spade a spade.
Okay.
The people who are having, as we speak right now, who are having a pepper steak and a glass of wine are party loyalists. People who've been dancing to the beats of Raila Odinga or Uhuru Kenyatta or Samoei. The way you heard Jeanette speaking with a high level of confidence is assured of a party nomination. If you are a loyalist, then you are sure you're going to be in parliament till the time you say, I'm sick and tired of this being an elected member. And increasingly from this weekend, you will see people struggling to be associated with Raila Odinga. Now they'll be calling him early in the morning or calling the bodyguard to establish Baba Koapi. They'll do the same for President Kenyatta and the deputy. So now you'll be elected, you'll get a national seat, not because of merit, not because of your intellectual fund, not because you've got ideas that are going to take Kenya to the next level. If you come with the divergent views, like for instance, I remember today, who is really very nervous, is Honorable Alfred Keter, because for him he knows is not going to get a position within Jubilee. And even in the Jubilee instruments so far, they've indicated that you can actually win the party primaries, but there's no guarantee that you are going to be given the ticket. So essentially what we are doing is, the political parties in Kenya have now become special purpose vehicles. And what is likely to happen, any politician with a bit of money is going to register his own political party to be guaranteed of a seat in any elective position. And that's a very unfortunate space where we are in Kenya. That's why and that's part of the reason why the deputy president yesterday called all the people to his residence and he said, you're going to vote in this particular manner. If you don't, I'm going to kick you out. That cannot be described as democracy. And it happened also within court. So for me, I think really, in as much as a section of Kenya are celebrating and having a glass of wine, this is a sad day for democracy, as far as party opening is concerned. But another issue that a majority of the people have lost sight of, and which we need maybe now to break into a dance and song over, is now the electronic process. They've now been able to create a system, because the registration for voters is going to be electronic, and identification is going to be electronic, and the tallying is going to be electronic.
Okay.
And an important bit in that is that it's going to be a multi-stakeholder approach. Anybody interested in the electoral process will participate in that and ensure that the elections are going to be free and fair. So for the party primaries, a sad day for Kenya, but when you go to the actual general election, then that one at least there's hope that it's going to be free and fair. But now the contradiction is, if the party primaries are flawed, in as much as the actual general election is free and fair and the party primaries are flawed, what kind of democracy are we having?
Are we talking about?
Yeah.
And Dunstan, talk to me about what you think then, how again do we resolve these issues that arise, because they always arise, and I suppose that's a thing that would happen in a democratic space, that there are some people who will feel aggrieved, although some may argue would be legitimate issues, others not quite. So how do we deal with that? How do we solve the issues that we see arising?
To me, I'm very happy that at last we are moving to the level of democracies as practiced by the owners of democracies, for example, the USA. Donald Trump, even if after he garnered enough votes, he had to go to the convention, and there are those establishment Republicans to endorse him. They had a right to not give him the ticket. Hillary Clinton had to go to the National Democratic Convention to get that ticket. So all over worldwide, there are party ideals. You cannot just walk and get a party ticket when you don't believe in that party. What happens is that people are elected today in this party. When they go to parliament, they don't subscribe to the ideals of that party. They either join the government that won the elections. And that is why now it is very clear, when you join a party, you believe in that party. If you lose in that party, you stay in that party. You wait for the next general election. The culture that was there originally in Kenya was that you jump because you don't believe in anything. You believe in being in parliament. You believe in being an MCA.
Yeah.
That has come to an end. Two, there is room. The bill passed in parliament today. If you know you are going to be rigged out, walk out today. Form your own party. Or move to a party that you'll not be rigged out. Why do you...
How do we stop this rigging?
The question is there. It's not that there is rigging. It is only a question that their Kenyan politicians have never believed that they will lose. For example, we had 8 presidential candidates in 2013. There were candidates who didn't even score 50,000 votes. If you ask them, they'll tell you they were rigged. In a ballot, a Kenyan politician has never come to the ballot to win. Most of them come out and say they were rigged out. There are very many reasons to contest. There are those ones who are saying, I'm putting my name in the ballot for branding for 2022. But he'll not tell the voters that. He'll tell the voters, I was rigged out. So in my own view, let us accept the reality. If you believe you are rigged, the courts are very efficient, the tribunal will be there.
Where do you think dispute resolution should lie? With the political parties or the IEBC? Do you think there's too much on the IEBC as far as trying to settle some of those disputes that arise at the party primaries?
Well, I think it should lie at IBC. But Omar has made some statements which are very worrying. That for anybody who's been following politics in Kenya, you begin to wonder whether he's been studying abroad. If you go back to 1983, during the Mlolongo system, the person with the longest queue was not necessarily the winner. You would go to a polling station, you've got 1,000 people behind you, the guy with 10,000 votes, or rather 10 votes is declared the winner. Now during the last election, maybe we look at 2 examples which are very relevant. If you go to the Mombasa senatorial seat, Hassan Omar was running for that seat and he was supposed to be the ODM candidate, but because of mischief somewhere, people decided to kick him out. And because of party hopping, he went to Wiper and he still won. Now, if we had the rules we are talking about in place today, the Senate would not have the brilliant mind of Hassan Omar in place. If we go to a place called Nyando in Nyanza province, a gentleman by the name Jared Okello, he ran on an ODM ticket. But for some reason, a fellow called Fred Owuta was given the ticket. And Jared Okello is struggling with the Supreme Court and his matter has not been sorted out. So the question that we are trying to avoid but we cannot afford is rigging. The party primaries in Kenya are never free and fair. It's the reflection of the party leadership. Okay. Whoever they want, that's the person who is going to run the day. And for that one, really, we cannot afford to tiptoe around that issue. But it's a reality that they're never free and fair.
All right. Now, our time, unfortunately, is up. Very quickly, some of what you're saying, being Charlie says, party hopping will lock out opportunists. However, political parties need system strengthening away from wenyewe. Petrobed, you say, yes, it will strengthen because politicians will stick to their respective parties. Pipeline, you say, they amended the bill to remove the hopping clause, which is good. Javin Omukangala, you say for the first time MPs have brought their necks to the chopping board. The bill will pinch them very hard soon. Geoffrey Nderitu, yes, because the politicians will be stuck fully in their parties and be true members. Let me see if I can read one more here. Victor Mshindi, you say a political stand as an independent candidate for party hopping is not a good idea. And Oliver Migere, let politicians stand firm with their party ideologies and whether they lose or win nominations. And this is how you polled tonight. We're asking you whether you think this party hopping will bar will strengthen, rather, envisaged law barring party hopping will strengthen political parties. 69% of you say yes, 31% of you disagree. Thank you so much for watching The Last Word. Dunstan Omari, we appreciate your time with us. Dismas Mukua as well, always a pleasure. And all of you who watched and called in, appreciated, and tweeted as well. Have a good night, and may God bless you.